You know, there's a month in Denver when homes technically sell, but sellers quietly lose tens of thousands of dollars. Not because the house is bad, not because the market is crashing, but because the timing is off. And most people don't realize it until the moving truck is pulling in the driveway. And no, it's not the month everybody blames. Snow is the innocent in this story. If you found yourself late at night scrolling listings in the Denver suburbs thinking, should I do this now or wait till spring? You're asking the right question. And if at any point you thought, am I crazy for even considering a move this year, especially doing this on my own? Congratulations. You're officially a normal homeowner and on the right channel. Because selling isn't just about how fast your home goes under contract. It's about how much leverage you have when your buyer shows up. And that's the part that most people don't realize until they're already in the middle of it, juggling showings, feedback, and second guessing every decision. Today isn't about selling fast. It's about selling smart, which usually means more money, less stress, and fewer "why did I do this" moments at 2 in the morning. You know, when people hear worst month to sell, they picture blizzards, holidays, and that one week where everyone's at Costco buying patio furniture. But the worst month has nothing to do with the calendar. It's the month when buyers have too many options and sellers lose control of the conversation. In that month, instead of buyers leaning in, they're leaning back. Instead of saying, what do we need to do to win the house? They're saying, let's wait and see what else pops up. And that little shift, that's where stress and price reductions are born. Let me ground this in what we just saw in the Denver metro area market. In December, according to our local numbers, we saw pending sales down about 4%, new listings down about 5%, and closings down roughly 3%. Median sale prices went down slightly under 1%, and days on market crept up a little bit, and there's about 2.3 months of a supply of homes for sale. And what that tells us isn't panic. It tells us buyers were being cautious. They were watching the rates, watching the headlines, and taking their time. Fast forward to early February, and we're already seeing something different. With interest rates easing and sellers pricing more conservatively, buyers are starting to move, especially in that pre-spring window. And with how mild the weather's been here in the Denver metro area, very little snow on the ground, that early momentum feels even more noticeable. Let me give you a real example from my own neighborhood. A home down the street from me, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, unfinished basement, just listed at $549,000. Nice home, some upgrades, nothing flashy. It went under contract in 3 days. Now here's the interesting part. That didn't happen because it was the prettiest house on the block. It happened because buyers were in a moment where they didn't want to miss out. In a different month, that same house might still be sitting there while the buyers casually bookmark it like a recipe they swear they'll try someday. That's why I love seeing this early momentum from buyers in our Denver metro area, which will only increase as we enter the spring market. This is where solo sellers, especially women doing this on their own, can accidentally put themselves into a reactive position. When you're reacting, you're responding to showings, feedback, price drops, and just one more weekend instead of running the strategy. The sellers who tend to do the best aren't the fastest, they're the most prepared. Here's the part that most sellers underestimate. When rates were in the 7s, fewer buyers could qualify, so homes sat longer. Buyers felt comfortable negotiating. But as rates come down, more buyers are suddenly going to fit into the same price range. That means more showings, more competition, and more urgency. And spring in Denver, longer days, nicer weather, homes looking their best, that's when buyers emotionally lean in. But here's the catch-22 for sellers. Spring is great for selling if you're ready. But if you're also planning on buying, that same competition works against you on the other side. So this becomes less about what's the best month to list and more about what's the smartest sequence for me. Some people do better selling first and shopping with cash power. Others, they need to secure that next place before they let go of the current one. There's no one size fits all, but there is a right answer for your situation. I always tell my people this process can be emotional. You're not just selling a house, you're selling a chapter of your life, which is why you don't want to be making any big decisions while standing in front of a box labeled miscellaneous cords that you can't remember what they go to. And I promise, figuring this out before you're living amongst half-packed boxes and empty shelves makes the whole experience much more pleasant. Let's keep at least one part of this with a plan that's easy to follow. By the way, if we haven't met yet, my name's Peggy Dorstoff. I'm a realtor with Live Denver Suburbs powered by HomeSmart, and I specialize in helping women over 50 navigate selling and buying, especially when they're doing it solo or stepping into that new chapter. If a spring or summer move is even on your radar, the smartest thing you can do right now isn't list, it's map it out. I put together a simple planning guide that helps you think through timing, money, and next steps without pressure, without overwhelm. It's totally free. You'll find the link down below. And if this question of buy first or sell first is already bouncing around in your head, I've got a full video on that. I'll link it here and I'll link it down below so you can watch it when you're ready. Or if you'd rather talk it through, you can always book a free planning call. Totally your choice. Either way, the goal is the same. More money for you, less stress for you, and a move you can feel good about when it's all done.